everyone. Welcome to the third episode already. Third, it's always so funny to say third on video. The third
Third.
episode of
It is third.
the third episode of the podcast, the Nosedive podcast. So we're here today with a special guest. We will be introducing somebody who has been hiding behind the scenes in this podcast. And we have some interesting information about the events that we will dive into, as we are also event organizers. So, Mark, take it away.
What have I been doing this week? Well, I planned to go one-wheeling, but that got absolutely rained off again. Merry old England. Couldn't help it, but it just absolutely threw it down all weekend, even though it wasn't supposed to. But I spent obviously a lot of time editing the slightly amusing video with Bart. That was quite good fun, which somebody messaged me on Instagram and said, you've got that. Bart brings a lot of energy, and it did. It made me go out to our storeroom where we've got our store barn, where we've got all our Shred the Shires equipment, and move everything out the way, lay out all of the ramps. I strung up 25 meters of lighting bulbs, which we then strung through across 20 meters through barns to the nearest plug. So now I've got a nice little spot during the winter to practice dropping off the boxes, which I am terrible at because I am old and everything hurts. But it's more for my kids to get a little bit better and more confident. What about yourself? What have you been up to?
Mainly been stuck in meetings lately at work. Luckily, I still have a creative job, which gets my tinkle on. But at night, we've been really working on structuring the EOL, a lot of stuff with Skirt. We are planning on the future activities, stuff like that. So that also asks for a lot of attention. Luckily, we have some good teams running behind the scenes there, but it's pretty busy to make sure that we get everything out there as soon as possible, because I know the people are waiting.
Absolutely. I'm waiting. I don't know. I missed the meeting for the OL, so I don't know what's going on. So I'm keen to find out as well.
Yeah, very cool. And it's really cool to see that there's a good feedback popping up on the podcast. It's nice to see that people are tapping in, and most people like what is happening. So that's a really heartwarming thought to have. And I also noticed that in the YouTube comments, we did have quite the legend in the commentary box. Slido Stroke was there, and he apparently was looking into the episode of Bart Miller, and he's liking what he sees. So it's really cool to see that an OG like that, because he really was one of the first people to get eyes on the Onewheel, even on a broader audience. He has some really cool videos. He hasn't been very active on YouTube lately, but the old school videos of him cruising through the cities, full pushback in grace and style, are still very epic to watch. If you haven't watched them, if you're new to one-wheeling, definitely check out Slido Stroke. Straw. I hope I pronounced that right.
Difficult name. I'll stick it up on the screen. Anybody watching can see it on the screen. Anyone listening can have a look at the description on the Spotify description. It'll all be in there. Yeah,
so very epic to see that these kind of people are tuning in and are on board on the podcast.
I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. The little AI elf, because I think it's excellent now. Is Gergő. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. I just helped out Santa Claus because in Hungary we have St. Michael's Day actually tonight, and he is going around, filling up the kids' boots, with some goodies and sweets. At least in Hungary, so it's not in Christmas time. Hi guys, it's nice to be here.
So, Gergő, tell a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What are you doing in the one-wheel realm? And what are you doing here?
Yeah. So about me, you can find me as Gergő Snú on Instagram. I'm a one-wheel enthusiast. And most of my free time, I also occupy myself, with one-wheeling and how to grow this culture, the sport. I'm one of the organizers of that thing, Balaton Karika, where we take a 250-kilometer tour around Lake Balaton. This year was the fourth time we actually made this, and we also had the luck to be part of the European Onewheel League. And for the fifth year, we are planning something different. And this is the race we introduced as part of the AOL under Tier 2, where we had these race tasks where people could also show they're not just fast on the boards but also agile in a way like Lars has it in the Danish one wheel games.
Yeah.
But I'm part of the Burners crew, one of the members there, and we are doing all these events under the name of Electro Hussars because we are trying to look not just one wheeling but also for e-skates, EUCs, even maybe e-scooters. We have discussions about that, but
careful.
Long story
That's
short,
like blasphemy. That hang on a second, scooters as well. Not sure about that. That was nice to see Gergő. Let's just cut him out of the video now then. And
no scooters this time, right? We for the Hussars group rides, we still invite them. We are unsure if we will involve it. Probably this is for now the last priority. But as you can see, our quite new logo, we have e-skates, one wheel and an EUC there. So that's our main focus. After the wacky wheels on Balaton, Karika, we had another race, the Extreme Day in Fout. That's the name of the city. That's why we call the Extreme Day Fout Life, not Float Life. But it was super fun because we connected, with an already existing event. So we had even more, viewers than maybe you can get on a one-wheel race. So it was super nice in a trail track. And we just, looking into keep expanding it for 2025. Yeah. And in the podcast, if you already said that, like, I'm an AI elf, also in my professional life, I work with generative AI, machine learning as a digital consultant. So I'm helping out the guys, to keep things efficient in a manner, prepping up some questions or notes about people. Let's see how this evolves.
So if someone is digging into your background, you know who it is.
I mean, I'm not stalking anyone, but I could.
For the podcast. For the podcast.
I spent most of the weekend stalking Bart Miller's Facebook page so I can find appropriate pictures of him to cut out and add into the video last week.
Such a lovely visuals you made there.
Yeah, man.
Body and him in the bed. I loved it.
I like to kind of give some imagination to the story that was being told, and we'll probably continue with that with our guests as we go through the episodes, through the weeks and months of doing this. Just going back on what you were saying about the event you've just been to, was that the first time they'd had one wheels at the event? Because you said it was nice to have a bigger crowd than you would normally get at a one wheel event, or the extreme race.
The extreme race, that's a city event, even acrobatic dunking and freestyle basketball show been there. It was super nice. I was actually also doing basketball freestyle in my late teen years before university, and I almost became a FACE team member. They were out there and they had special programs for the kids to try out even shooting there with some laser pistols. And there were some concerts and showing of movies. So it was a well-rounded event. And maybe as we also considering talking about our own events, like we already discussed with the guys here that how nice of an idea to, for example, for 2025 to ride to some of these mountain bike events, downhill events we have, and just be the warm-up race for that big thing. And like this, we could draw in more people to the one-wheel sport, because in Europe, it's a struggle. That's why we have the multi focus on multiple personal electric vehicles, and we also want to see if, for example, an idea like this could work out just to be a warm-up race before a crazy downhill mountain bike something.
And I definitely noticed that the mountain bike community is more open towards one-wheeling than, let's say, skateboarding or snowboarding, because of the trail aspect. Because they see us blasting through the trails. We often go to Utrecht in Holland, where they have very nice trails. Shout out to Muddy for getting all the people together always there. It's a weekly thing, and they really blast. But there we noticed there's a lot of mountain bikers, and they're really stoked if they see the one wheels blasting through the trails. And that's a different story if you go to the skate park. If you're in a skate park, you're more of a hassle than an addition to the skate park, because you're riding an electronic device. And
they cannot compute, like, what are you doing there, man?
And
get up.
We noticed that the mountain bike community is way more open, so you might find an easier entry there than in other events. Although the freestyle of one-wheeling is also developing very rapidly. We've seen some really wicked jumps also with the hooks these days. People are flying all over the place. We've seen big-ass jumps, guys like Bodhi doing freestyle stuff. Cricket is also going really nuts. His video parts on YouTube are also bananas. So
I mean, even Hannes, in Liechtenstein.
Yeah, man, Hannes as well. He's really clean. You can see he's been a pro snowboarder. He's been doing lots of acrobatic stuff in his past, and you can really see that translate to his one-wheel stuff.
It is insane when you watch. For someone like me, I'm not a skater. I'm not a snowboarder. I'm just someone that picked up riding around on a one-wheel because it was fun. I did a little bit of mountain boarding with a kite and stuff years ago and stuff like that. So I kind of had that element of extreme sporting. But when I watch guys doing the freestyle tricks on the one wheels, when we watch them at events, when I watch the videos and stuff like that, my mind remains blown as to how someone can get something that is sort of 10, 12 kilos to flip and spin. I don't understand it. I don't know how they make. I can barely pick the thing up, let alone flip it, and it's just full.
Yeah, but even those guys who lend these things, like say the same thing. I saw the video, in Portugal about Dan coming down in a downhill section who no one else could do, and I just asked him, like, how you have the bravery, to go down there. And man, I don't know, I'm scared. I just nailed it. I went down.
I was there in Portugal, and he was actually the first one to try it. He was there for about 10 minutes before he dropped in, because it was a massive drop. And it was very tricky terrain, because Portugal has these very slippery pebbles, very steep downhill landing. So really hat off to Dan for throwing himself off and being the first one, because after that, I think 3 other people threw them off that rock. So it's always inspiring to have people like tuning in there, but it was very intense just seeing him up there, like, and analyzing the spot. And that's the thing, like, you have to be able to visualize stuff, because I used to have a friend in snowboarding, and he's a breakdancer, and he was very good at really learning stuff, because he just was watching at a jump for like 15 minutes, visualizing what to do, wrote down, and he did it. And once you get into that flow or in that mind state where you can start visualizing tricks and actually convince yourself you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, and even if you're not that talented, because Mark, I'm with you. I was the nerd guy who was good in math and physics, for example, in school, and I was like, oh, skaters are so cool. I bought a skateboard. Actually, my mom bought it, and then I tried, to go to the school with the skateboard, but I couldn't even do an ollie. And then basketball opened me up, so I was a bit more extreme there, and one-wheeling followed the same way. Like, I just wanted to do this, from Back to the Future. I want to be Marty McFly and do something with it, and it evolves, because, for example, for me, even a drop was difficult first, and now I'm dropping down in quite bigger heights. But first, I just landed, and I kept my back foot on the tail, and then I tried to put my front foot there, but I was still jumping off because I was scared of it. And at the end, it's just works. So even if you don't have this imagination, you can still put it together by segmentally, build it up and, just gaining that confidence.
Yeah. And it's still different because I know I come from skateboarding and a lot of different board sports, and it's still a different dimension because the board actually, when you freestyle at the start, is working against you, and you have to learn how to work with the board, because in skateboarding you control the board, snowboarding the same, but with the Onewheel there's machinery that's trying to correct your movements. And at first it was really a mindfuck to throw that thing at freestyle tricks, because the board was trying to correct stuff that you were not anticipating on, and that was really, starting freestyle was tricky. But yeah, the thing that you do have when you have board riding experience is the how you fall, because if you take a dive, the roll from skateboarding or other board sports is something that really can save your shoulders or other injuries. So that's where you really benefit, but otherwise it's totally different machine again, and it's a lot more heavy. But I've seen wicked things like I think it's Onewheel Dado. I don't know. He's doing the flips to slides, and I've seen some flips to dark rides and stuff like that. Ooh, he's really tech shit.
I mean, for me,
you can do so many things.
For me, it comes down to just trying to get over that. It's not Dan dropping down a massive drop in the Algarve, basically landing onto pebbles. It's 30 centimeter high drop off of a box, and I'm standing there trying to get the courage just to be able to do that drop. And I've done it. I've done it many times, but each time I still need to find the right mindset, the correct level of confidence to be able to drop it, because I don't want to hurt myself. 20 years ago, I was doing 360-degree spins with a massive 8-meter kite in the air with stainless steel buggy strapped to myself. I'd injure myself, I'd hurt my back, and I'd be fine. I'd carry on, I'd go to work the next day, a little bit stiff. No, I'm 44 years old now. If I fall off that bloody Onewheel, that's me done for a week or two. I can't do it. I need to start taking painkillers before I ride these days. So there's that element in my brain to say, you can do this.
That's what you get you in the mindset, taking painkillers before the ride, and you can jump.
Absolutely, because I know I'm going to hurt myself. I am intrigued, Vinie, as to what is happening in 2025 with the European Onewheel League. I want to know what the plan is, what you can tell us, what you can tell the people at home. What's the crack?
Well, we were talking about injuries a minute ago. That's something that we want to contain the risk of injuries a bit more. That was the main concern after seeing the finals. Everybody on those very fast machines was going quite hard. There was a few incidents that luckily didn't have any consequences, but it was a wake-up call to everybody that these machines are starting to fly full speed. So we definitely wanted to contain that a bit. So for that, we are now, when you register for an EOL event, are asking the race organizers to fill out a risk assessment. It's a template form that we will provide, and that makes sure that we know what the risks are, that there was a proper inspection, that the proper measures are in place to make sure that we can have a safe EOL race. We are now starting the registration process for the events, so they will need to fill out a form. Every event can register for an EOL race, and then after that they will have to fill out the form. Once the form, the assessment has been approved by the EOL, then we can go ahead and provide them with an EOL race badge and make it an official EOL race. That's an important step that we needed to take to make sure that the riders in the community are safe, and also that the events are covered when these things happen. Then for the 2025 season will actually be a transition season to 2026, because we have some plans, but it's very drastic to immediately throw them in there. So we want to have a transition year where we want to collect as much feedback as possible from the community on how the format should look like. And then with the committee, we will take the necessary decisions. But for this year, we opened up the race as a total tier 2 structure. So, last year we had the tier 1 and the tier 2 events. So this year we will have only the tier 2 standard. So we opened it up. You can have any kind of or type of race that you want. You just have to make sure that you get to a top 16, which will then account for the EUL classification. This opens up for different formats, also for the Danish one-wheel games and other formats which are not really a heads-up race. They are still included in the EUL. And from all the registered events, we will have the best of 3 events will count for the eventual ranking. And then also based on the ranking, we will have the finals again in Portugal next year.
Because 2024 was 5, was it over 5 events or 4? I can't remember now.
4 events. So the 4 best.
Yeah.
4 best out of 8 events, and now we will have 6 events, right?
It depends if everybody qualifies, but we have currently have 6 entries. And if they all qualify, then it will be 3 out of 6. And we will probably have 1 pilot event. So it's a new event. The Send It Surrey event is a new experiment from the UK community, and that will probably become a pilot event in the EUL. So that's something to look forward to. So that some events are already happening and are very eager to register and have the EUL race on site. That's very cool to see.
Fantastic. Sounds like it's going to be another busy year, to be fair.
Yeah, but we start out again with Shred the Shires, right, Mark? How is that going?
Oh, how's Shred? Give me a second then. You can ask me that question. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
All right, we suddenly lost Mark into the fog of England. We don't know what is happening.
There we go. Hang on.
Okay.
Nice to. How are we getting on?
All right, there goes the influencer.
Have a little sip from my drink. Got to support the local team and all that. I'm going to take that
Got to
off.
support the local.
It's too hot in here. This is our race jersey for 2025. It's our Mott's up version anyway.
Oh, nice.
Can't do this with AI. You use Jorge. Another fantastic design. We'll have
I'm not sure, but yeah.
The logos down there. It'd be quite nice, but it's an early mock-up. The collar needs to be adjusted a little bit, but for a quick mock-up from our suppliers, we were very, very pleased. But yeah, we're rolling ahead with all the plans. We need to sort out our submission to the EOL application. Hopefully we'll be successful. But yeah, we're looking to put together more of... last year was a little bit... We started off focusing very much on the race, but we very quickly realised that we had just as many people just wanting to come along for the social aspect of one-wheeling. So we're focusing a heck of a lot more now on, we're going to have a race, we're going to have a main race, and we will also aim to have a Legends race as well. And we're working out. Kate's got to do the maths. Kate's the geek in the background, and has raced many, many races and was the top scorer of the 2024 season. She's working out how we can do some sort of amateur Shred the Shires race as well. So for the old guys like me that I don't quite qualify as a legend, and I certainly won't qualify in a race, but I like doing a time trial because it's fun to do a time trial.
It's a really good thinking because, for example, in IXA race, in Prague, they had a season now with 3 races, and I think it's already the 5th year for them, and people are not showing up anymore. So because all the front pack now is like a stable list of riders and racers, and like all those people who cannot compete not showing up anymore. So I think it's a super nice way of thinking to provide for those who just want to get better in what they are doing, but in a way where it's still challenging and it's still fun. It's not like you're back of the track and you're like, they're waiting me to get to the
Mate,
goal.
when we did our time trials in May, Fabio was behind me in the time trial, and everybody had like a minute's gap. And I turned to, I think it was James or Kate was doing the timing when I left. I went, can I just get like a minute and a half with Fabio behind me? Could I just have like a minute and a half? And literally, he was about 10 seconds behind me by the time I finished my lap. I think Dan lapped everybody at WoW. But even though it was only one lap of WoW on the time trial, I'm pretty sure Dan went past me twice. Because I'm not quick enough. So we really want to be able to, for those that want to have a bit of a chance to race, it's fun. It's fun to have a go. Somehow in Shred the Shires, I did get into the top 28. I don't know how, but I did. So we want to be able to give that opportunity for, yeah. There was kind of, everyone was leaving by the time I'd finished with the other three people that I was racing against. I was a good minute behind them. But yeah, I was like the bottom of them. But it's just nice to have that opportunity. But for those that don't want to do that, we're going to be doing social rides while the time trials are going on. And then in the evening and daytime, we've got a few extra games planned. We've got a little the One Warrior games that we're just putting together at the moment. Some one-wheel based games is the nicest way to put it. You don't need to be able to ride a one-wheel, but they will be one-wheel orientated. And then, of course, we're going to have a pub quiz in our bar, which is aptly named, as is this podcast, the Nosedive Bar. That's where the name for the podcast came from, because I had the sign hanging up in the barn. And we're also going to do a little movie competition as well, with some prizes.
That's cool.
To create that atmosphere. So we're really trying to turn it more into an event, into a one-wheel festival, than just focusing on the race, because we had little tiny Willow last year, 6 years old, came out on our social rides. That is fantastic to see. With nice, simple, easy social rides for everyone to be involved. Chris, the ex-milkman now, I think he'd owned a one wheel for like 2 weeks before he came to Shred the Shires. I already bought his ticket, and it's nice because they're coming back for that atmosphere. And that's what we want to continue to create. That's what I've enjoyed the most out of the events that I've been to, has been, watching races is fun, but riding in a group of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 people it's great.
You should have a social ride where you are going to look for dinosaurs, man.
Do you know why we have dinosaur as our logo? Really, really boring facts.
Yeah, I know, but tell everyone else. I know.
It's basically because on the village sign where the event is held is a dinosaur. That's because they used to mine dinosaur shit and grind up fertilizer. So there's a giant diplodocus, but that didn't look cool on a one wheel. So a T-Rex looked a little bit more cooler. But yeah, we could go hunting for dinosaur crap in the fields. There's certainly plenty of that rolling around, little tiny pebbles of stone. So that's why we have a dinosaur. That's the only reason. But it works. It works.
Yeah, but there's these blow up, T-Rex costumes as well. I saw people.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those. We could do a bit of hide and seek, see if we can find Eduardo dressed up as a dinosaur as he put it on for the end of the Algarve tour this year, as he rode back to the hotel. There's a beautiful little scene with him wearing that's dedication to the cause, man, to go all the way to the Algarve, to do the entire Algarve tour for like 5-6 days and carrying this inflatable dinosaur kit in your bag. That is going above and beyond. Full credit to him.
Someone is bringing, tools to repair their one wheels, but
Just
Yeah,
Eduardo
we also definitely we also sent out a survey after the WoW event, and there in the answers it was also very clear that the social aspect of the events is actually a very important thing. So if you are setting an event, I can only advise people not to focus only on the races, but to make sure that everybody is attended to, because there's lots of people there, and as you say, the race is mostly for the bunch who's already ready to throw themselves at that. But there's a lot of people just wanting to cruise around, have some fun, learn a few things. That's also why we tried to do the training camp at WoW, because we really wanted to tap into that social aspect. And as you organize an event, it all goes very fast. Like everybody's coming there on Friday, racing on Saturday, doing some activities on Sunday, and then everybody's off home again, and you missed half of the people that you wanted to talk to. So that's why we also tapped into the camps in the beginning, and that was really nice to actually get to know the people, to talk to them, to see who's behind the person, because you mostly see them online in videos or just in photos, and it's really nice to sit around the campfire, talk to each other. People are taking out guitars, you learn about the talents of people, and it's so nice to see that this is more about community than just a race.
I mean, that's why we have been so fortunate. We started out as a social event. I mean, first we just, with my brother-in-law, Mishi, who is also an organizer, we were just like, is it even possible? And I had the Onewheel XR badge to ride more than, I don't know, like 120 kilometers. I think that's around 100 miles. And then just to see if I can get it. And then we were like, oh, we could keep going. And then the next year we had the burners crew out, and we went around. We had the beautiful scenery, the vibes, and just, 10 guys, living their best times. And now for the race, we had less people than on the group ride, for Saturday. And it was just amazing to see like 30, 40 people showing up, to go around the lake above the racers. So it's definitely the essence of the whole thing.
It is.
So
I mean,
to get
the parts I've enjoyed the most about events, I've been to WoW and I've been to Portugal to the championship race, are the bits afterwards, the bits after the races, because during the race, everyone is zipping to a particular obstacle or a corner, or, I think I spent about 10 minutes talking to James from Scotland in the forest, waiting for one of the races to start because there was a delay or something. We just stood there waiting by the log ramp, just chatting away, just having a nice little conversation between ourselves. And I met James. I know I met James and chatted to him at Shred the Shires in May. I don't remember most of that because, as you say, Vinie, it goes past in a blur, or in your case, dosed up on God knows what you're having to take for your ribs. But it goes so fast. So to have that time in the evening, that's why we've got a beer tent. That's why we're having a pub quiz and a movie competition, and we've got something else special planned for later in the evening, when the kiddies have gone to bed, and the packs of cards might come out, as we did in the English house in Portugal. There was a few little games of cards. I'm not still bitter that James Anthony won, but that man owes me £10. That's what I'm saying. I was prompt, is what I'm saying.
You're putting money on the line. You were
got the
putting
memo.
money.
You get the memo. So, Gergő, what's on the menu in Hungary for next year? What are you guys doing?
I mean, usually our ambition level is always greater than what we can, deliver on. So
That's not a bad thing.
I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We are paralyzed by the choices and the decisions we are making. That we have so many, but honestly, we are looking into narrowing down what Balaton Karika means. As I just said, we were focusing around Saturday, the group ride. That now is like super sweet and perfect. The lunch is at a beautiful scenery with a hotel. They loving us, going there now for the third year actually, and they like, okay, we are ready to get your orders for next year, and then there you can jump into the water. But we just want to make this part perfect. We are looking into leaving Friday off even, because we saw that just basically thinking that people will free up themselves and take out a holiday for Friday. That's a nice thing if they can do it, but we want to make it for people as simple to attend as possible. So that's what I was also talking with David from X-Rays, that how his system built out, that you just put in your jersey number. So the first time you sign up for a race with X-Rays, you get a jersey, and then you have that number for the rest of your life. No one else will get it again. You don't have to register with an account. You always refer to your West number and connect this to the payment and connect this, so the user journey is super simple. We want to implement these essential points into our event as well, and that's what brought us to simplify it back, to take it for Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday, where most of the people is already dead, because no one can take like 215 kilometers in 2 days. I mean, most of the people won't be able to, and that's why we are assuming those guys who can will race on Sunday. And I don't want to say too much about it, because it's still formulating, but basically we are looking into what Hannes was suggesting for last year, where we didn't even know if we will have a race course at the Balaton sport park, this little MTB practicing track, which was super nice. But yeah, so that will be a long distance race, so A to B, not laps. And we are still cooking it, but it's looking nice, because we already have a lot of partners along Lake Balaton, and that's that. So the wacky wheels style will still be hosted. We are also seeing that how this will fit with the AOL standards. So therefore we are also having plans to do the Fault Life race 2 times next year, so in spring and in autumn as well. But it could be also in July, because of the schedules, like Vinie, you said that we just have the 6 applicants to be a race, but we are still figuring this out, and we nailed this down by the end of the year. We already have this in plan, so we get with the government of Fault that we can do the race there 2 times. So we might move the AOR race over there, because it's much closer to Budapest, and this what aligns with what I have been saying, that how can I make it even easier for people to attend. You just fly in with a cheap flight, and then you are already at the race in like 30 minutes time. So that's the plan. And we introduce another race. So we have a lot in the back.
The rest of the year, you're
have a lot in the
racing
back.
all the time.
No. I mean, we already had a group ride. We have group rides. We have the Electro Halloween. You might familiar with from social media. That is also a growing thing. So we just want to keep that as a group ride for Halloween night, and that's super nice. We just had pretty cool customs.
I saw that video. That was wicked. That was wicked. That video.
Yeah, I was Son Goku. It was nice. It was nice. Just to take an off track on Electro Halloween. I had an EPS board, which you use for heat sealing your house, and I took 1 plate of those, cut it around so it looks like a cloud, and then I use these sprays, to fill it up. And it was so nice. And I even had integrated an Arla box from Denmark, Lars, if you're listening. I saw also you, Alexis, standing on like 4 Arla boxes
Okay,
in the Danish Onewheel games. One of those was the base for me to sit on, and it was perfect. I was even hitting stairs with it while standing on it, and I only broke off a little part of it because hitting a trash can. But then I give it away to one of my friends who is basically one of the main contacts for this Foat Extreme Day or Foat Life race, and he ruined it in like 5 minutes, no time. He was hitting a column, like breaking it totally. And what about you, Vinie?
Well, as
That's
some
my
of you
secrets.
as some of you might know, there won't be a WoW 2025 next year. If you don't know, the word is out because it was unsure if Onewheel Park will be open next year, so you cannot plan ahead if there's no certainty about the venue. And it was also growing very fast, very big. And just to contain ourselves, because we are a small organization, we decided to go for a different approach. And we will actually do a few events, but smaller things. That makes it more manageable. So we also got a few more people on board from our team in the organizational part, which will be good. Alexis has joined as the event manager. Then Ellen, who really stood up at the WoW event, who was doing administration, is also part of our team now. And that's official. Jorge from Spain is also joining us as a graphic designer and is gonna help us out on the marketing because he really has been working his magic in the Onewheel scene, as you can see on Mark's jersey. So yeah, those are some really good additions to the team, and that opens up the playing field. We have a European team within Skirt, so we are going to try to cross the borders with the events this year. So that will be interesting. What exactly it will be, we don't know yet because we got a lot of cool suggestions from the community, things we can tap into. So we threw it all out there on the table. We are currently having a poll, a vote on what we will execute, but we will try to do one thing per season next year. So not a full race season, but the fall, summer, and winter seasons. And that will...
Vinie, I just want to say one thing because I want to make sure that every listeners or viewers understand that this is not a step back. This is not a failure. It's just everything you guys touch, turns into gold. And you have so big of a demand afterwards that you get okay, I evil burn out or do something which makes it still that valuable thing that everyone wants. Like I knew for this year everyone wanted to get to WoW, and it was the same with Martin and Jacopo, regarding Float Italia. I already told the burners guys here like WoW will be the next Float Italia, and I also see the potential with Mark as well. So like you guys will help out other events. We'll just make those events even cooler and get more people to join those things. So I just wanted to say this because it's still so cool how you guys influencing the European culture. And yeah, so it's definitely a win for me in my understanding.
Couldn't agree more. I'm totally up for anything in Belgium or anywhere around in Europe. Definitely. My brain's sitting here now going, I want to know when it is. I've got to book my holidays. I've got to book my annual leave. I've got to let my employer know when I'm not going to be working because I want to get out over to the other side of into Europe. But yeah, I'm excited to hear your plans and what the rest of the team are coming up with. I have to give a shout to Jorge. He is currently badly injured. And I love seeing his
AC dislocation.
My whole Skirt team is almost having shoulder issues. It should become our trademark. I have
like
Ghost,
little
Jaffa,
gecko.
Jorge. Luckily, we still have Lawrence in one piece. I was recovering from the rip, so it's been intense this year for the skirt team.
Maybe it's just a suggestion, and I could speak to Gary, who's from GB Merch, who's our merch guy on our team. Maybe just a suggestion. Maybe not the beanies. Maybe just full body armor for your entire team. Might be a little skirt on a shoulder pad here, and chest pads, and rib cages, and get the knee pads in there. Get the whole just armor basically for the entire team. I'll speak to Gary, see what he can do.
Yeah, we've been working on it to emphasize the protection because the guys have been going bananas this year. It's so cool to see that they're pushing so hard and they're putting in a lot of effort, and that takes its toll. That's part of the game. We all know that, but we definitely hope on a better year in 2025. But the plans are looking good. We have some really cool proposals. It's going in very different directions. So I'm not gonna spill the beans, but there is even maybe an option to have a race. We might even go in that direction, but it will be smaller. And maybe since the EOL is open to different formats, we will experiment with that. It's all in the hands of the skirt team currently, so fingers crossed, and we'll see in the next meeting what comes out, and hopefully by the end of the year we will be able to share a bit more about the skirt plans for 2025. And we also have a winter project which is now has been ongoing since we ended the season in Portugal. It's a little side project that we are working on. I'm not going to say much about it. The only thing, I'm going to make it a riddle. The only thing that I'm going to say is that it has something to do with what Bodhi wants more in the community. So chew on that.
You are Mr. Cryptic tonight. This is so unfair. This is just, I'm going to get people messaging me going, did Vinie tell you anything after the podcast? What's going on? I don't know anything. I tell you now, guys, don't ask me because I don't know. Because it's not fair. Yeah. I don't want messages. I want, oh, that's a good podcast. That's a great message. Not, what's Vinie not telling us because I don't know anything. And it's not.
It's a riddle, but I watch everything, Bodhi posts on social media, but I still cannot figure it out. I will think about it.
I will repeat it. It's something that Bodhi wishes more of for the community. So that's what you have to do.
Is that black lights? Is that black lights in hotels and that kind of thing? Is that what Bodhi wants more in the community? I don't know.
Bodhi, if you're watching this, please write it in the comments so we know what Vinie is planning. Thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully, Vinie, you'll be able to tell us something more in future episodes as we progress and as your plans continue to progress. But it's nice to see that there are different opportunities for different events and races. And I've said before, it's great. 2024 season was great. It was like 8 different races and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be an EOL race to go and have a race, because you still get to compete. You still get to have those opportunities to have fun and socialize on a Onewheel. And that's the whole point. Just find the local event, whether you are in the south of France, in Spain, Portugal, Denmark, wherever it is, and you're not going to go to any other event, just go to that event. Go and have some fun. Because it is, all of the events are fun, and organisers such as ourselves go through a hell of a lot of stress. It is really stress. The biggest stress being the weather.
Yeah, that's the thing that you don't have in hand.
Yeah. But
as we experienced this year.
we all had wet events this year. All three of us had at one point or another the downpours of rain. Thankfully, we coasted out. The first Friday was wet. That was fine. Saturday was damp and it's sunny. Sunday, beautifully hot. For yourself, Vinie, it was time trial, slip and slide.
That day, I didn't because of my injury, I didn't experience it live, but just seeing everybody attacking that hill in that fashion, boundaries were definitely pushed that day. I know that some people didn't decide not to race, which is also admirable, because you have to be able to make out for yourself what your level is and what you are willing to handle on that Onewheel. But I noticed that the most people who did decide to go out it on the muddy course, just to have some context, we did have a lot of rainfall on a course that has a lot of incline and decline. So it was quite muddy and very difficult, very technical. It was already technical, but that made it like too majorly technical. And a lot of people pushed on that track, and it was amazing to see that so many came out victorious. And how the freak did Dan go 1 minute in front of the second rider in that course? He had a similar time like the year before. I was the fastest XR in 4 minutes and something, and he almost had the same time this year, but on his big tire machine. That's crazy in that course.
I can tell you what I
But
saw.
he had a clip with full mud on his face, right? When he took off the
He went full out, man, really full out.
Just before, and I'm talking minutes before Dan did his time trial, he was sat there with Hannes, and they got his phone out and they were crunching away on the old Vesk app and changing a few little bits and pieces and all the rest of it. That is the community. That is the community. That is Hannes going, I ain't racing in this. He was like, I'm not stupid. I don't need to race. This is ridiculous and wet. But Dan was like, and he was like, what do I need to change? And it was literally on the phone minutes before Dan went and did his time trial lap. That is the community. That is just going, how can I get you to go faster while being safe, obviously? And he was fast. Crazy fast.
Yeah, man. And for me, what made the difference the year before, I also was looking at Hannes, what he was doing. He was a very good reference. And at the first WoW race, I noticed he was riding a very, very low PSI on the WoW race. And I was like, can I push your tire? And I pushed it and he was almost flat. And I was like, whoa, he's onto something. He had a bigger tire than me, but then I rode 5 or 6 PSI the second time trial. And I was the fourth in general. I was only 20 seconds behind Hannes on that time trial, and that made such a big difference. If you are riding on really rough terrain, if you let a lot of air out of the tire, you really just ride over the bumps, and you really don't feel it because there's no bump in the tire, and that really was
the tire swallows all the rocks and roots.
I do advise to have a good pair of lifesavers if you go that way, because you will feel a rock here and there. But it was the key to like have a quick time and be consistent on a very technical track.
Yeah. And it's good you mentioned this, because we talked about many events, but I was out at the Swiss race, experiencing it. I mean, eating a 20 euro kebab was a bit painful, but everything else was wonderful, like.
They're cheaper at Shred the Shires, ladies and gentlemen. They're a lot cheaper at Shred the Shires.
It's the place for commercials here, but it's still like, I don't want to say anything because the whole race, the whole experience was perfect. I loved it, and that's where I saw Dan being fast the first time. We just, on the group ride, we just kept racing each other, because I always like to be fast on group rides for some reason, and be a bit safer on the races so I not hurt myself. But then was like taking me, and then I took him back, and then I already saw there will be a right turn, with a cliff at the end of the turn. but then was like, oh, I have to take him back, and I was like, stop, and he basically at the edge, pulled it out to stop here, and already fall off. A tree caught him, and the board trembled down. So it was super crazy. But that's where we became friends a little bit, because he's also, I think, a software engineer, as I know. And it was nice to see Hannes. I was expecting to race him, but I also busted my AC joints 2 weeks before or prior to the race. And Hannes even made a drag race so I can participate there, because I kept the fastest record on a Onewheel with 60.8 kilometer per hour for 5 days before Hannes took it back. And then Nico from Float Life with 69 kilometer per hour set it, the new world record. Yeah, but it was such an insane race. And also there for the qualifiers, we had some rain. We went out for shopping, and the sun was shining, and I was with the Czech guys, who I know from Mixer Race and from the Czech Onewheel Association. I was like, shit, I think we should go back, because they might just restart the whole thing. And then we went back, and okay, Gergő, okay, Vlasta, are you ready? And No, I'm not. But we did it anyway. You know, I fell off even with my bad shoulders. I fell on my face on one of these cheese ramps, but everyone took it like a champ. It was so nice, and that was the first win for Alexis as well. To see him on that, on that board being so fast, like, whew, it was a nice event. And I think I just wanted to mention this, guys, because I want to give the essence that everyone here is doing their best, to make it super cool. And no matter which AOL event you visit, 2025, you will have fun, but you will also support your community and also support the sport we are building together. And that's the best thing. Yeah.
And make some good friends in the process.
Oh, for sure. Some crazy dudes.
For real. So that sums it up about for what Skirt is about doing. Shred the Shires. Is there anything else that you want to share, Mark, about Shred the Shires, the STS?
Just we've got our tickets on sale up until Christmas Eve. We are filling everybody's goodie bag with some extra special goodies. We did exceptionally well last year with our goodies, I think. I think those that attended were very pleased for what they got for free. This year, they'll get even more things in their goodie bags, but that is only if they buy their tickets before Christmas Eve. After that, they might get a sticker and maybe one of last year's bags. So yeah, get those tickets from shredtheshires.co.uk. I'm doing an advert now. I didn't want to turn these into an advert, but hell, why not? It's something that needs to be done. Where have we got people from so far? We've got a guy coming from Canada to race. We have people from Scotland, Fabio and Dan, I think, and Jess, Scotland, Portugal. Well, I think they were the first people to buy their tickets. I mean, in fact, I think Fabio and Dan booked the only B&B in the village before we released the tickets. They booked it when we released the dates, and then they booked the only bed and breakfast in the village, because it is like 50 houses in the village. So they booked it before.
Level of confidence.
But it helps. We're 40 minutes from two airports. We're from Stansted and Luton Airport. It's a 40-minute drive, so it's not exactly far at all for people to travel if they want to come along. But I will share more bits and pieces as we continue to develop them. We got a license to run our bar today. It came through this afternoon, which is always a big relief on my mind, that we have to have a public event license to run the bar, because I like making cocktails. It's as simple as that. That's all I do all night.
Do you have some special cocktails, like for Shred the Shires?
Yeah, we had some.
Do you have
special
some special cocktails?
Yeah, we did. We made some special cocktails last year that were Shred the Shires orientated and dinosaur orientated cocktails. It's probably why, to be fair, I don't remember talking to a lot of people, because it's a case of I'll make you one and then I'll make one for myself. I have to make sure I'm making it right. And over the weekend, I progressively later and later each morning.
Please do an anti-nosedive elixir or something like that.
Yeah,
because
that would be cool.
now we have the podcast.
A little morning wake me up. Yeah.
Something with a raw egg.
Excellent. I think that's it. I think we can wrap it up there. What do you reckon, chaps?
Yeah,
so.
I loved it.
It was a good chat. I just want to finalize with one last thought for all the companies out there that support these events. It's really important for the event organizers to get these things going. So if you have the chance to support these kind of events by any means, anything will definitely be welcome. So it's always nice to see everything together. Also the product owners and the people who put out all these things, because there's not a lot of margins on these products. We know it's not that easy, but it does keep the train going. And we are always trying our best to put those people into the light as well. We cannot forget about them.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think we can close the episode right here. Already looking forward to the next one. And Mark, take it home with your epic statement.
Keep that nose up.